Hello. You may have noticed I'm not by myself today. I have a guest with me, and that guest is Rose. Rose all day. We are in May. For me, that's the beginning of rosé season, and I had my very first glass of the season this weekend, and I'm so excited to be here. I hope you are too. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, grab yourself a glass of rosé, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, and let's get into this week's episode because this week has been very, very interesting for me. First of all, I had my very first heels class. You may already know, or you might not know, that one of my goals for this year is to become sexy. And part of doing that work to become sexy is going through Emily Nagoski's book, Come As You Are. It's learning how to be one with my body. And in being one with my body, I wanted to do a heels class. I felt like the logic behind doing a heels class is that heels and dancing and doing like sexy movements to me feels like a very empowering thing to do. You also are able to be in an environment that teaches you how to be connected with your body. So looking at your body in the mirror, like in the dance mirror, looking to see how your body is moving and feeling those movements. So I thought, heels class, let me sign up to that. And sign up to it I did. I had my very first class this week, and firstly, when I arrived there was another class going on, and I was watching them because the door was open as it was super hot, and it was giving, because I live in a very white town, and the class was very representative of the town that I live in. It was very, very like white hip hop. It reminded me of Save the Dance, the movie where I think there's a girl who wants to get into Juilliard and is in some intercity school, meets a black guy, and the black guy teaches her hip hop. She teaches him some ballet moves, and she just dances in a very like white hip hop type of way. But I was watching them and I was like, this is so white people, zero coordination, 100% confidence. Oh, wow. I love to see it. Well, I didn't love to see it. But anyway, you do you. I support you. And then shortly after that, the class started. I got into the room. We were let into the room, myself and a bunch of the other people who were waiting. We had to take our shoes off, put our stuff away, and wait for the instructor to come in and lead us in our warm-up exercises. And I was sat there just chatting to everyone, being like, hey, my goal is to become sexy. How are you? How did you join this? Like just giving TMI and asking all the questions. And then the class started. And we had to do a warm-up exercise where we had to like walk in a sexy way from one end of the room to the other end and back. And then we did another one, which was like more like movement based, going from one end of the room to the other end of the room and back. And I was like, okay, this is definitely interesting. I'm learning, I'm figuring it out, fumbling my way around things. And it was good. And then we started going through the choreography. I think because the class is filled with people who have been coming regularly and people who are new, like me. There's another girl there who was the second newest person who, I think that was her third class. So some people knew all the moves to the routines. Some people, like myself and the other girl, only knew little bits. But then the other girl I was there with, who was there for her third class, she was dancing since the age of 7. So she could like learn the moves instantly. And when we're going through the moves, it was like, I was like, okay, cool routine. In my mind, I was like, it could be better though. It could be better. Rather than do like this move, you could do maybe this move, right? I was choreographing in my mind, having never like danced or done any dance classes. And it was very interesting. So we did the dance, we did the class, we did all the moves. I can't remember what song we danced to, but it was quite fun. And then at the end, they were like, if you want to record this to rewatch it when you get home, see how you can improve and like just practice the moves, you can do so. And I thought, okay, let me do that. So I put my phone down, got into position, did the dance. I did what I needed to do. However much I learned, I did all that. And as I was doing it, I just felt, Veda, this doesn't feel right. Something about this does not feel right. I don't know what it is, but something about this does not feel right. It doesn't feel like you're flowing. Anyway, recorded it, said bye to everyone, left, and on my way home, I was watching the video, and I kid you not, I could not stop laughing. Like, wow, my coordination, like my body would go one way and like other parts would go another way. And it was weird. It was weird. Like I looked like Bambi on acid. It was so weird. And I was watching myself, I'm like, wow, so this is what you did. This is how you were moving in front of a room of like 10 other girls. This is what happened. This is what happened. Like I was on the street, cackling because I just could not believe that this is what I looked like. Like I knew in my mind and I felt in my body that something did not feel right about how I was moving, but I did not know it was that bad. That video will never see the light of day. Never, ever, ever see the light of day. You will never see that video. I said to myself, wow, because you know what? Because for so long, I have been in my career and doing a job that I am good at. And how good I am at it is very measurable. You have targets, you either reach those targets and exceed those targets, or you don't. And I reach those targets and I exceed those targets like all the time. And I'm used to being very good at the things that I am doing. And when it came to having hobbies, didn't really have any hobbies. So I wasn't necessarily learning anything new. And the new things that I try to learn, like knitting or doing a puzzle. I mean, is doing a puzzle learning? I don't know. Anyway, knitting or chess, or that's really mainly it. I'm just doing that by myself. I'm sat at home on the couch knitting or playing chess on my phone or doing something else. And it's very, like, you can't necessarily be bad at it. You can be slow, but you can't necessarily be bad. And this was a new experience for me because I was learning something new in the presence of other people and doing something new that honestly, I'm not naturally gifted in. So that was a new experience and a very, very much a new feeling that I haven't felt. I don't think before or in a very long time. Like I'm just not used to not being good at something. And I think that's a really bad thing because we should be learning throughout our entire lives. We should be picking up like brand new skills, not necessarily upskilling, but picking up brand new skills, things that we've never done before. We should continue doing those things throughout life. And that's something that can help expand our minds, expand our strengths, expand our skills, expand our talents. And I really haven't done that. So it's exciting that I get to do it. But as I was walking home, when I stopped laughing, I realized, oh shoot, Veda, you are white people. The white hip hop you saw when you arrived at the class, that is you. So I'm so sorry. So sorry to all the white hip hop dancers that look insane when they're dancing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to the Save the Last Dance-esque type of dancers out there. I'm so sorry that I judged you because I am you. You are me. We are one. I'm so sorry. And what's crazy is that when I got home and I was telling my husband how the class went, I was just like, I think there's actually something wrong with me. Like there must be something wrong with my body, with my brain, because how can I be that bad? How can I be that bad at something? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? This is what happens when you only do things that you're good at. Because and still today, I still think that there might be something wrong with me. That's why I'm ordering like all these supplements to help my brain and help my body. I'm just like, you did not see that video, and you're not going to see that video either. But that video, I was just like, Veda, is that you? Is that you moving like this? I was shocked. I was so shocked. And the fact of the matter is, and I'm sorry to say this, but the likelihood of something being like medically wrong with me versus not being good at something is high. Like, that's the way my brain is thinking. No, don't be me, y'all. Don't be me. Don't be me. Learn something new. Learn something new that you've never done before. Learn something new that you may not be naturally good at, but you're interested in, because that's insane. I'm still going to be ordering those supplements and taking them because, you know, dang, you did not see that. That video was scary. What's in my glass? I need to start washing my wine glasses by hand and not putting them in the dishwasher because this is interesting. Anyway, the other thing that happened last week was my neighbor sent a message into the group chat being like, my boyfriend has been arrested. So please don't let any unfamiliar cars in or any unfamiliar people in. They sent this at like 4 a.m. in the morning. And when I woke up at like 6, 7, and I read it, I just thought, people are really living different lives. Oh, I forgot to mention, they also said that they, as in my neighbor, doesn't have their keys. So their door isn't locked properly. I said, wow, like, are you okay? Are we okay? Because we can't let like cars that we don't know into the gate. And like, we have like lots of like post people coming to deliver parcels and stuff like that, or maybe someone coming to visit a friend or a family member that lives in our block. Like that's something that happens frequently. And what do you mean we can't let people in? Like, are we safe? I go to the shop sometimes at lunchtime. I go for a walk sometimes at lunchtime. What if someone comes up? Do I have to ask for their ID or like interrogate them? Do I have to Karen them? Because what do you mean? What do you mean your boyfriend got arrested? Isn't that cray-cray? So crazy. And this is like a group chat that's normally very like alive. People are posting messages in them about like various different things. And only one person responded, and they responded hours later. I was going to respond asking, are we safe? And then my husband was like, just don't get involved. Don't get involved. I said, okay, fine. I won't get involved. But only one person responded. I think everyone may have been in shock, just like, what's going on? And then on, like, at the end of the week, there was something going on near the train station in our town. Like, I think people were fighting. I think there were some shoplifters and someone was fighting them, and the police were called and the entire area was cordoned off. And it was just, it was a bit intense because this is a town that nothing really happens in here. It's very safe. It's very friendly. It's very chill and calm. But it was a week of policing, what's the word? Police something. There are a lot of police around. So someone was arrested, and then an area was cordoned off because I think some people were fighting each other. Insanity. And something else that happened was that I went to my first pole fitness class. I didn't actually have it on my list to do. I went to a games night a couple weeks ago, well, maybe a couple months ago at this point. And a guy there was saying that his wife does pole fitness. And I was just thinking, wow, I've been wanting to do pole fitness since I was in high school, but I just never got around to doing it. And I honestly didn't know that something like that existed in our town. So I did some research and I found the pole fitness studio in our town, and I went along to my very first class on Friday, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. I mean, it felt empowering. My muscles were aching after it because you're using your own body weights to exercise basically and to do all these like tricks and spins and stuff. My knees were bruised because like you had to like land on your knees and do all these moves and do all these things. And it was so good. It was just myself and another girl in the class plus the instructor. So, you know, I could have all the attention that I wanted, which was necessary because, again, you know, either something's wrong with my brain and my body, or I'm just not naturally gifted at moving my body. So it was nice having that extra attention to really take me through every single step of the moves and how to do things in the best technical ways. And something that the instructor had said, she was just like, I actually haven't moisturized properly in the last 5 years since doing pole, because, you know, if you moisturize, your body like slips off of the pole. And I just thought, you know, I'm Black, right? Like moisturizing is part of my daily routine. I basically moisturize. I moisturize my entire body, minimum once a day, obviously. But then my hands, my feet, I'm just constantly moisturizing them because I don't want them to get dry. How can I not moisturize to do this class? Because she said, we recommend not moisturizing 24 to 48 hours before a class. And I said, that's 2 days. That's 2 days of dry, ashy skin. I can't do that. And even before the class, I moisturize. So I'm like, my legs are a little bit ashy. I don't want to go in with gray legs. So I moisturize like 30 minutes before the class. And I suffered because of it, because my body was slipping off that pole, and not in a good way. Not in a good way. I can't stop moisturizing. I think I'll just have to shower before and after the classes because I cannot stop moisturizing. I need to moisturize. My skin will get ashy and eventually wrinkly if I stop. And I really enjoyed pole. It felt very, of course, there's the fitness side to things, which I'm still feeling in my body now. My muscles are just aching because I haven't worked them out like that in a very long time. But then there's also the empowering sides of things where you feel connected with your body. You do these sexy moves. And I really, really love it. I think I love it more than heels. I don't know whether I'll continue with heels. I have another class next week of my heels. But I think pole dancing, pole fitness is the one for me because that is just so much fun. So much fun. If you have been thinking about doing it, I 10 out of 10 would recommend it. Okay, I do have to get my laptop out for this section because I have been learning a lot about women's bodies, and this stemmed from having a conversation with my aunt and my sister a couple of weeks ago, and we were just talking about how there's so many things that have happened to our bodies that we just had no idea were normal and no idea was actually just part of the aging process. Like, for example, my period. When I started my period, I did not know what was going on. I was in the bathroom screaming. I was in Nigeria at this point. I think we ran over for summer. I was screaming like, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, I'm dying," because I just did not know this was happening. Like, I'm bleeding. I'm pooping. What's going on? What's going on? It was such a traumatic start and such a traumatic beginning into womanhood. But when I speak to my friends, when I see stories online, it's very normal. It's very normal. Like, why are we all having traumatic first periods? Why aren't we told these things? We have, like, what is it called? Not social studies. We called it PSE, I think personal and sexual education or something like that in high school. Why was that not something that was taught? That this was going to happen? This is how it could happen for you? Like, beware, be aware, because Trauma. Why was my first period so scary? I literally thought I was dying. And it's been the same thing for so many people. And as I'm getting older, I'm entering my 30s, my body is changing. And there are things that I have been learning about, a range of things, about how your period changes when you get older, about how your hormone changes when you get older, about menopause, perimenopause, premenopause, endometriosis, PCOS or POCS, which is what, holistic PCOS, I think that's the one. There's so many things I've been learning, and I wanted to have this session, school classes in session, with you all today to discuss what I have learned, because I just know for a fact that I'm not alone in not knowing much about my body. Women's bodies are so complex, so detailed, so powerful, so scary, yet there isn't a lot of information around it. Yet so many of us, when things happen or when we enter certain phases of life, we're like, what's going on? Am I dying? Go to our GPs, go to our doctors. And they're like, no, this is normal. This is normal. We sort of fall into stuff thinking that the world is ending, but apparently it's a very normal part of being a woman, but the education isn't there. There's a gap between what's known to be normal and a gap between what's actually like an education gap, right? And as I've been learning more, I'm also aware that there's also just a data gap as well. There's not a lot out there, or there's not as much as there should be out there around women's biology, about the inner workings of our inner workings. And I just feel it's men's fault. It's always men's fault. Like, if they stopped exploring space and explored this space, we would not be freaking out all the time when something that's very normal happens to us. Like, why do we need to try and find out if there's life on Mars without knowing what's going on in this body? Explore this space. And then you can go up there and figure out what's happening with the planet and where we can move to after the billionaires ruin Earth. You know what I mean? And I mean, I love space. I love space videos. I watch space videos and learn about Mercury and Saturn and the rings of Saturn and how there are more and more rings added every however long the time periods are, because of, it's just basically space debris that's forms the rings. And I love learning about Mars and Mercury and all these planets, and with their storms and their volcanoes and their moons and their bodies of water or bodies of something, ice. And it's so interesting to me. However, what's more interesting to me is knowing what's going on with my body and knowing that I'm not in fact dying, that this is just something that's very normal, and knowing that, okay, at a certain age, my bone density halves, meaning that I need to, before that happens, start taking certain supplements, start doing certain exercises to ensure that I am okay. But no, we're exploring space. Men, figure it out. So, this is what I've learned about periods. So I went on to Reddit, and I also asked some questions on TikTok as well. And this is what the people have been saying. Someone says, I wish someone told me how absolutely miserable you can be the week before your first ever period, right? I completely ruined my family holiday because I was grumpy, constantly exhausted, and just plain foul. On the very last day, I bled. My mum cried and apologized for disciplining me, but neither of us clicked. Maybe I had just started my period. I was achy and miserable the whole time. Your mum apologized for disciplining you? I know, okay, there's a lot in there. But your mum apologized for disciplining you. That's, wow. I know what race this person isn't, because a Black mother can never apologize for disciplining you. Ever, 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 ever. What they'll do is like they'll make you food and that's them saying they love you, they love you, and maybe they're sorry. Or they'll just go on and say, okay, but yeah, you ruined it anyway. You ruined the holiday. Wow. But this is so true because, again, as I communicated, my first period experience was that I had no idea this was happening. I did not know what to expect, what not to expect. It just happened, and I literally thought I was dying. I was screaming the house down, being like, Mommy, come and save me, I'm dying. Come and say goodbye. Come and say goodbye to your favorite daughter, to your favorite child. Oh. This person also says that they were told, they wish they knew that they had discharge every day. Like discharge every day was normal. I wish I knew that. I probably found out that was normal in the past like 5-6 years because it feels like as a woman, as me and my womanhood, it felt like I probably only got a good few days every month that there wasn't something coming out of me. It was always something, my period, ovulation, pre-ovulation, something happening. And I didn't know that was normal. And also what it communicates as well, because there are different textures or consistencies or colors that mean different things. I didn't know that. I still don't know what all the colors and textures mean or consistencies mean. I still have to figure that out. Someone else says, I was surprised to learn that periods affect your eyesight. What? I'm on mine and things are darker than usual and blurrier. I looked it up and what do you know? The cornea thickness and shape change during it, which causes temporary vision changes. What? What? So your period can change your vision. Did you know that? Sorry, I'm in shock. I was surprised to learn that my period affects your eyesight. I feel like I have times in the month where my eyesight does change, where things do feel blurrier. Like I wear contacts. I've been wearing contacts more for the last couple of weeks, but sometimes it's just felt like really blurry. And I have been on my period since I've been wearing contacts. So I need to monitor that. That's really interesting. Someone else says that PMDD syndrome is a reason why I want to kill myself 7 to 14 days before my period. And it's due to the fact that I also have PMDD with normal depression. Oh my gosh. What's PMDD? PMDD stands for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It's a severe chronic form of premenstrual syndrome, PMS. It triggers debilitating emotional and physical symptoms such as intense irritability, depression, and fatigue in the week or two before menstruation and usually resolves shortly after a period begins. Oh my gosh. So PMDD is basically PMS, but on cocaine. Oh my goodness. Key signs and symptoms: emotional, severe mood swings, anger, panic attacks, anxiety, and in severe cases, suicidal thoughts. What the heck? Physical signs: you get bloating, breast tenderness, headaches, joint or muscle pain, and extreme fatigue. Okay, I feel like that's normal. Cognitive: difficulty concentrating, forgetfulness, and lack of interest in usual activities. That feels like depression, the lack of interest in usual activities. Oh my gosh. PMDD is distinct from regular PMS because it significantly disrupts daily life, making it hard to work, socialize, or maintain relationships. If your symptoms impact your daily functioning or mental health, you should speak to your healthcare provider. Oh my gosh. Girl, I'm so sorry you have this. That is insane. And the crazy thing about PMDD, PMS, and just having like a period is that your life continues. You don't get to pause for a week whilst you deal with the fluctuations and changes in your body. You have to continue working. You have to continue studying. You have to continue being in relationships, socializing, being active. You don't get to stop. That's insane that this is something that can actually cause suicidal thoughts. Someone else says, mine has gotten generally lighter, the period has generally gotten lighter and less painful in their 30s, that they've been off birth control for years and that it's actually more manageable now that they're in their 20s. Okay, good for you. Love that for you. Someone says, at 31, mine became significantly lighter and they went to the doctor who found out that their B12 and iron levels were very low. And now that they take those supplements, their periods have begun to increase again. Okay, wait, this is conflicting. So is it the case that your period can get lighter in your 30s because you're in your 30s? Or is it the case that the reason why your period might get lighter in your 30s is because you have a deficiency? Because this person said that theirs got lighter as well in their 30s, but it was because they had a B12 deficiency and an iron deficiency. I honestly think what's best is that we just take supplements. We take our iron, we take our B12, we take our omega-3, we take our magnesium, we take our vitamin D. We just take all the supplements because this is confusing. What I have heard about your period in your 30s is that you get significantly hornier when you're in your 30s. Like maybe the week before your period during ovulation. I didn't know that was a thing. It apparently is a thing. And something else that is that, so when I'm on my period, at least the first couple of days, like the flow is very, very heavy, especially on the second day. It's incredibly heavy. And I didn't know that it was normal. It wasn't normal, sorry, to like need to change your pads every like couple of hours. It's apparently not normal to bleed that much, that you need to change your period or tampon every hour to 2 hours. I didn't know that. And I also thought it was very normal for your periods to last like 8 days. Apparently that's not normal. Your period should be lasting like 4 to 5 days, which is just crazy to me. I'd love that. But so many people say that their periods last longer than 7 days. So I'm just like, is it like what's common is like 4 to 5 days, but it's also normal to be 7+ days? Or like what's actually normal? Like I remember when I took birth control for about a month or 2 months and I did not stop bleeding for 1 month. Like so the birth control did something to my hormones, to my period maybe, that just made me bleed continually. I'm off it now, but like, didn't know that was possible. Another thing that's apparently not normal is that if your clots are bigger than the 10 pence coin, like a 10p coin, which is about like that size. I think I haven't seen a 10p coin in a long time, but I think it's like that size. That's not normal. And when I was looking at like what a normal clot size should be, the internet said, I think it was like Healthline, that website, Healthline or Healthcare or whatever it's called. It said that if your clot sizes are bigger than a grape, you need to go and see like your doctor. What the heck size is the grape? Do you know grapes come in many different shapes and sizes? How am I meant to know how am I meant to compare my clots to a grape? I've had huge grapes, like tiny grapes, you know, the little sable grapes, the sweet red ones, they're tiny. Is that the type of grape that you mean? It's just, This is what I mean about the lack of research out there and the conflicting information. Because to use a variable that's so changeable to determine what is or isn't normal is insanity. A size of a grape, tell me in centimeters and millimeters. Because fruit sizes change. I should stop drinking this because, but you know what I mean, this is a lot. Okay, so period after 30, someone says, I'm 35 now. A few years ago, I noticed that my ovulation pain tends to be more noticeable. Not every month, but it's there. Over the last year or so, I've noticed that if I'm not particularly horny during ovulation, that's the horniness I was talking about, then I am during my period week. I have extra bloating and trapped gas. And they woke up in the morning, yesterday morning, in a lot of pain because of trapped wind. Oh my gosh. Apparently that's also a thing, that as you get older, you fart more. I don't know the science behind that, but it's something. Someone else says that my psychiatrist told me that women experience a shift in hormonal balances early in their 30s. It came up when I asked why my PMDD had seemingly gotten only serious since I was 30. But anyway, he said that the reason why there's a peak of report... What? So her psychiatrist said that's why there's a peak of reported psychosis in women at ages 30 and above. And there's only a peak for men in their early 20s. Wait, so PMDD can also cause psychosis? And there has been a peak of reported psychosis of women in their early 20s. Wait, in their early 20s and early 30s. I know what psychosis is, but let's get the proper definition. Psychosis is a medical term describing a collection of symptoms where a person loses some contact with reality. It is not an illness itself, but rather a symptom of underlying conditions like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and severe depression. Oh my gosh. So PMDD in your 20s or in your 30s can cause psychosis in women. I just can't. And apparently there's only a peak for men in their early 20s. Ooh, okay. I'm just gonna go on to Reddit and see what else is going on because that's insane. Oh my gosh, the other thing that I learned was about perimenopause and premenopause. So those are two different things. Perimenopause is, let me Google, 2 seconds. Okay, what is the difference between perimenopause and menopause? So perimenopause is the transitional phase before menopause when your hormones fluctuate and periods become irregular. Menopause is a specific point in time marked. I know what menopause is. Hang on, what's going on? What is the difference between perimenopause and premenopause? Okay. Premenopause represents your reproductive years when you have regular periods and no menopausal symptoms. Perimenopause is the transitional phase before menopause when fluctuating, you know what I mean, hormone levels cause irregular periods and symptoms like hot flashes. Okay, premenopause is what every woman is in before they start perimenopause, which is when they start having symptoms of menopause before menopause actually happens. So you have the symptoms in your transitional phase into menopause. That makes sense, right? We're on the same page. Cool. What I learned about menopause is that there's something called a menopause divorce, where for a lot of women, when they enter menopause and when they're going through menopause, a lot of them end up getting divorced because their sense of reality is warped. Their hormone level changes, which changes their personality and their character, which can change their personalities and their character. Some women just see things and they're like, actually, this thing that's been going on in my marriage for years, I don't want that anymore and I'm done with it and I'm going to leave. So they just move on. But there has been a spike in divorce rates from women to men who want to no longer be in their marriage when they are going through menopause. And I had no idea that the menopause divorce is something that is real. And it's scary to me because for your body and for your hormones to change that much, that it changes your sense of reality, it maybe changes what, like, your tolerance levels, it can change your personality and your character. And you need to continue on living your life and maintaining your relationships when that's happening. It's just, it's insane. It's scary. And it makes me feel like women don't necessarily get enough credit for how strong they are. So I feel like when we speak about women and their strength, it's normally around a childbirth. But even if you aren't birthing a child, there is an immense strength to being able to keep it together as much as you can when your body involuntarily does all these things to you and you just deal with it. Okay. What else are the people saying on Reddit? My new physical symptoms lately is intense itching. Intense itching? Right at the beginning and at the end of my period. Like, I want to peel my skin off. It itches so bad. What the heck? Intense itching because of your period? Dang. Do you think I need to start documenting my cycles? Because I don't. Like, I used to put when I have had my period in my calendar. And I know that if I have my period like on the 1st of April, I would have it 4 days after the first day I had it the previous month. So if it was on the 1st of April, I would then have it like on the 5th of May. But apart from that, I don't document it. But maybe I need to start doing that. Do you document your period? Is there a good app to use, or should I just use like my notes app or Notion? That's insane. Why are you getting itchy? Someone else says, yes, in fact, I've found it's not uncommon for women to enter perimenopause in their 30s. Oh my gosh. I had no idea until at 34, I started having a lot of symptoms related to a decrease in hormones. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This makes sense to me. I didn't have PMDD until around the time I turned 29. Then it ramped up over a year until I worked out that my 2-week-long monthly depression / insanity and extreme fatigue was linked to my cycle. Before that, my periods were boring and I had maybe 1 day of being moody. Oh my goodness. Should I be expecting this? Is it normal to have PMDD? Is it normal to have PMDD in your late 20s / early 30s? Or have you had to have had PMS before PMDD? Can you go from like regular awful periods to PMDD? Or do I currently have PMS because of my periods? Do I currently have PMS? I don't know. Because for me, what my body goes through is normal to me. But when I Google stuff, it's not normal. Maybe I need to get checked. It's just so long to get checked. To call the GP, book the appointment, go in. You don't know what your GP is going to be like. I've had some terrible GPs. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's learn about perimenopause. Perimenopause. Okay, so this is the question I typed in. What's something about perimenopause you wish you'd known earlier? Someone says, you need to make as much money as young as you can because the cognition issues can sorely destroy stability. Peri is the most turbulent time and you need support holistically. Dang. Someone says, I'm an American scientist in Peri, so my life and livelihood is set to irrevocably collapse at any moment. Oh my gosh, what the heck? I was promoted to an executive role when I turned 45. It's been so much harder when I have to write everything down and I can't think the way I used to. Oh my goodness, memory issues? Is that a perimenopausal symptom? You guys, am I okay? Maybe that's why I couldn't dance properly. I was pretty convinced that I had some rare disease that even the medical community couldn't diagnose. Wish I'd known I'd been diagnosing myself on Reddit faster than my primary doc could/would. It seemed like perimenopause was a taboo word in the traditional healthcare system. Oh my goodness. Someone says, I'm kind of torn because I know doctors aren't trained in perimenopause. So how much do we really fault them versus the system? Why aren't doctors trained in something that probably over half of the world's population go through? That seems like something the doctors should be trained in, because what the heck? Someone else says, the complete lack of warning to women my age, late 40s, that you could start to feel like you're losing your mind, anxious about everything, completely frozen by fear, and catastrophizing about everything. And the answer is HRT, not antidepressants. What's HRT? What is HRT? HRT is hormone replacement therapy. Okay, so this is a medical treatment that tops up falling hormone levels in the body to manage specific physical and emotional symptoms. It is primarily used to relieve symptoms of menopause, but it can also refer to gender-affirming care for transgender and non-binary individuals. So this person is saying that HRT could have solved or at least alleviated a lot of the perimenopausal symptoms that they were feeling, rather than antidepressants, which is what they were put on. Dang. Someone else says, I knew absolutely nothing about it until it became a hot topic, probably because of the algorithm a year or so ago. I'm 44 and have been extremely online / aware of health stuff, etc. for decades. I really think people just were not talking about it until recently. Yeah, no one's speaking about this. No one's speaking about this. This is insane. Okay, asking the question, what were your earliest premenopausal symptoms? Someone says, wait, why did I just walk into this room? What was I going to do? Who do I need to email? Okay, memory issues. Someone else says, missing words. I was always super quick of the mind. Then I suddenly found I could see the words, but not speak them. At first, I thought this was stress. Nope, perimenopause. Am I okay, you guys? Loss of function tolerance. Insomnia. Thinning hair starting in my late 30s. Hot flashes in my early 40s. I feel like hot flashes is like one of the things we all know about menopause. Someone else says, anxiety through the roof for things I was already anxious about. Fear of heights, anxious about missing the plane. Oh my goodness. Anger, uncontrollable anger, like I'd never experienced before. Plus anxiety at the first PMS symptoms, sore boobs, water retention, brain fog. Basically, I was suddenly forgetting conversations. I don't mean that I forgot things that were said during a conversation. I forgot that I had even had the conversation in the first place. You guys, when it comes to forgetting things, this week I'd moved a clothing rack into one room. And then like 5 minutes later, I was like, did I move that? And even now, I'm like, did I move that into the room or was it already there? Oh my goodness, I'm just so confused. It's like, how do you know what is just, maybe what is you, what is a lack of supplements, what is perimenopause, what is a proper health condition? Like, how do you, as a woman, how do you know what's what? Do you just need to have the through line to your doctor at all times, just being like, hey, these are my symptoms, what's going on? But then they aren't like necessarily trained. There isn't necessarily enough research out there to know and understand fully like women's bodies and to be able to diagnose what's actually going on. So what do? You go to Reddit, you just talk to other women? Is that the answer? Is that the answer? Reddit. Someone else says a symptom of perimenopause for them was sobbing in utter misery or seething in total anger. I thought every part of my life was horrible and I just wanted to get as far away from it as humanly possible. Oh my goodness. Periods become hellishly and exponentially worse before they stopped. Like 2 days each month. Couldn't be more than a few steps away from the... Oh my gosh, wait, let me reread. Periods became hellishly and exponentially worse before they stopped. Like 2 days each month, they couldn't be more than a few steps away from the bathroom, kind of worse. Oh my goodness. Someone says, same here, horrific. Someone else says, me too. Oh my gosh. I don't smell the same and I hate it. To be fair, I knew that. I feel like around my period, just before it, my body odor changes. I feel that's normal for me. This person has it too. Someone else says, freezing. It would come on suddenly and last for a bit. Also, adrenaline surges, which really freaked me out. Yeah. Stomach issues. My complexion changed. What do you mean your complexion changed? I was a red-faced anger monster with constant tummy aches. Oh my gosh. Crashing fatigue was what really opened up my eyes. Literally couldn't move. I've never been that physically and mentally exhausted with no external reason. Severe anxiety. I go to sleep, but I can't stay asleep. Oh my gosh. Spotting, lighter periods, forgetting words, random days of extreme exhaustion. Oh my goodness. Anxiety and sleep problems. Dang. High sex drive, full of energy, my hormones going crazy before they crashed. My underarm. Oh, I like this one. I want this one. God, give me this one. I want this one whenever it happens. My underarm hair stopped growing completely and it's never grown back. I would love to stop waxing. That's a very good one. I'm happy for you. Someone says they're 47 years old, increased anxiety, brain fog, easily confused. I've had a couple of panic attacks while driving, so I have to let my husband drive. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster when he goes above the speed limit, like a feeling of disassociation. I'm 4 weeks into Lexapro and I'm hoping it'll go away because I really need to start driving again. So you couldn't even drive because of your panic attacks. That's crazy. Hip pain? No! No, not hip pain. Okay, they say hip pain. It was the beginning of years of trying to work out the issue and managing the ache. Stretches, ultrasounds, x-rays, injections, physio, Oh my goodness. No arthritis. Just my body starting to fall apart because my hormone levels were starting to wildly fluctuate before plummeting to nothing. Also, an overactive bladder. Were you peeing yourself? Hair thinning and irritability. Major, they say major in caps. Major depression. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Peach fuzz. I know I get chinned under my hairs. Not peach fuzz, but I get chinned under my hairs. I think that's just like my hormones though. Panic attacks and heart palpitations. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Itchy feet? What do you mean itchy feet? Someone else says shortly after they turned 38, their sleep started tanking and they were itchy all the time. What do you mean you're itchy? Someone else says, extreme itching all over my body started when they were 43. Itchy ears? How old were you? Oh my goodness. Dry eyeballs, itchy ears, crazy periods. Someone else says, brain fog was intense, joint pain, dry eyeballs, itchy ears, crazy periods that skipped for months at a time, anxiety, hot flashes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Itchy bum? Why is your bum itchy? Itchy asshole? What the heck? We're done. Oh, okay. We're done. You guys, have a good day, have a good week, have a good life. Tell me what's going on with your period, with perimenopause, with menopause. Send me an email at justtalkaboutitpod@gmail.com because this is very, scary how much your body changes. I just can't even right now. I just can't even. Being a woman. The crazy thing is, I know I ended it, but we're continuing here. The crazy thing is about being a woman is that, I've already said this, but I'll say it again. Not enough research on our bodies, what goes on in our bodies. Not enough education on the research that's already available on what we could expect, what's normal, what's abnormal. Not enough is out there, and we all seem to be just falling into it. So something happens and we think we're dying, or we think we have some sort of disease, but no, it's just a change in our hormones and we just need to take supplements or do exercise or take a certain medication. There seems to be a constant lack of awareness. That's unfortunate. And I don't know about you, if you're a woman listening to this, or if you're a man listening to this, you should know these things as well. You probably have women in your life. You should learn these things, but it feels as though the best way to learn about our bodies is online on Reddit. It's speaking to other women. It's women being open about their health and their journeys. Because if our medical professionals aren't necessarily trained in perimenopause or trained in how periods can differ amongst many women, about what's normal, what's abnormal, and give accurate information out so that we can also monitor ourselves, we have to rely on each other. That's the only thing we can do, is rely on each other. I don't even know. I'm feeling a little bit tipsy. I need to go and sleep / eat / just cry for a bit because it's crazy to me, women's bodies. Anyway, email me at justtalkaboutitpod@gmail.com. Send me in everything that's going on with your body because I want to learn. Maybe I'll share it on TikTok if you give me permission, or we have another episode talking about these things because there's a lot to talk about. Let's be real, there's a lot to talk about. Make sure that you're following me on socials, following me on the podcast, give me a 5-star rating, share this with a friend, and have a good day, have a good week, have a good life. Bye.